I'm gonna bait these guys because I'm better than them. So my life is more valuable, and I have a guardian.
And truer words have never been uttered as of today. The longer you stay alive, the more chances you're going to have of closing out rounds, which brings us to the first out of 7 tips that you need to know to climb out of low elo. Tip number 1 is what I'd like to call smart baiting. From the first clip we saw from Curry, it makes perfect sense that he effectively baits his teammates. Now don't get me wrong, Curry's absolutely 100% a beast in Valorant and can easily carry matches. However, he's also baiting in the sense that he has a better gun, which literally makes him more valuable. Oftentimes, when a teammate goes for a hero buy while the rest play eco, it's recommended to help the agent with the better gun survive longer. This also applies when you have teammates who are very low on health or have utilities that can allow them to survive engagements, like KO, Clove, and Phoenix's ult. You basically allow them to take first contact so that you can gather info and trade them off easily. But in the core essence of smart baiting, it doesn't always have to follow the mentioned prerequisites. You can simply decide to play off your teammates when you've assessed that they're not playing that well in this game. Let them gather info, let them peek angles or initiate contact, but just be sure to back them up or trade them off in an instant so you can gain more value out of it. Remember that you have no direct control how your teammates are going to play each and every round, but what you do have direct impact on is how you can adjust to your teammates to survive longer and close out rounds. We get it though, teammates in low elo can be really frustrating to play off of. They're just unpredictable and you never know what they're going to do. It's easy for high elo players to tell you to work with your team more, but they don't know what low elo is actually like. But here at SkillCapped, well, we do. We've actually personally made the hellish climb from Iron to Diamond multiple times and uploaded all of my games that we played to the website as we dealt with throwers, AFKs, and insta-lock duelists. Not only that though, but we even provided live commentary during those matches so that you can follow along with our exact thought processes as we learn to play around teammates from hell. We teach you how you can use your terrible teammates to your advantage so you can climb out of low elo and never have to play with them ever again. And you've got nothing to lose here too, because we literally offer a rank improvement guarantee at SkillCapped. So if you don't climb, you don't pay. If you want to see where our rank guarantee is going to land you in just a few weeks, be sure to check out our free rank calculator. And other than that, let's get back into the next mechanic. Now, while the first tip mostly revolved around adjusting to bad teammates, the second one focuses on adapting to your enemy's tendencies. Now, what exactly does that mean, you might ask? Let's take a look at this quick clip from Curry on his placement match using his Smurf account.
Okay, chat. So you see how this Raze on the other team is throwing a nade every round? Listen, I should be. You see how I adapted this round and just hiding from the nade? Obviously, it seems pretty basic, but a lot of you guys can think about that for a lot of things. Like, how do I explain it? There's a lot of tendencies that the enemy team will have, and it should be up to you to read into them and avoid taking unnecessary damage.
Curry is on a mission to keep playing controllers on a Smurf account as he grinds his way into Radiant. And on his way up, he addresses simple mechanics that matter a lot in climbing out of low elo. One of them, as he mentioned, is reading into the opponent's tendencies. At the start of the round, he sees how his teammates rushes in, knowing full well that the enemy Raze throws an early grenade. Yes, none of them got killed, but most of the team already took a chunk of unnecessary damage. Think about it. If one of the enemies is playing an outlaw, then most of Curry's teammates will be dead in one body shot. They also become easier targets to melt because they're already either low in armor or have none at all. Curry addresses this by saying how he adapted to the situation, by simply waiting it out. While it may seem obvious to point out, it's another thing to actually adjust to the Raze's tendency. This also includes other utilities like KO knives, Gecko's Dizzy, and other info gathering skills. But the concept of having tendencies doesn't end in how a certain player uses his utilities. What you have to consider is that Valorant is also a game of observation. The more you play rounds, the more you're going to notice some tendencies from your opponents. As soon as you're able to identify them, you and your team can make adjustments and counter strategies so you can outplay them. Being able to read into their play and choice of actions can easily catch them off guard, leaving their strategy literally in shambles. Another tip you absolutely need to apply in your games is full buying after winning the pistol round. Just because you watch tins or aspas doesn't mean you're the same demon on a deagle. Again, this is one of those mechanics you probably heard enough of before but still aren't applying. Unless you're saving for an op, it's a must for you and your teammates to full buy after winning the pistol round. No Ghost, no Sheriff with half armor, just full armor with Marshal, Bulldog, Spectre, or whatever you can afford with complete utilities. There's no reason not to do it. It's a free round that can easily snowball the score, economy, and momentum in your team's favor. What I often hear as an excuse to not buy is that they'll save as a safety net in case you lose the round. But what you need to do is just remove that mindset and actually claim the free round. There's a 90% chance that the enemy team will be on a full save, and even if they force you, you still have the advantage with better guns and full armor. Now, if it all goes according to plan, that's 2 rounds in the bag, and possibly even more if you win the bonus round. But even if you don't, you'll have the opportunity to damage the enemy team's economy, giving you another advantage as you move on to your buy round. Now, there's definitely times when low elo players are just too impatient that they start to autopilot their way into sight. As a result, they get picked off by sneaky enemies hiding in corners. Which brings us to the 4th tip. Don't dry peek everything. Low elo players are often unpredictable because of how bad and uncanny their decision making really can be. Instead of always rushing your way through A, B, or C main, slow it down and clear the objectives. All it takes is a simple use of Sova's drone, Sky's dog, Boombot, or Wingman to safely clear corners. Alternatively, flash and near-sight utilities can also do the trick just so you can push enemies back or catch them by surprise. Here's an example of an effective sight take from Sentinels against Gen G in the Masters Madrid finals.
This is looking like you thrash to try to put pressure on people, yep, and Zekken follows it up.
Osh and Seekers with a thrash on top, like you said, Josh here, sending it flying. Zekken is eager for the engagement, even more so, spots it out, Munchkin. First one to fall, fills up that feed for them nicely here, but Gen G might even look to try and fight back through with the flash as well. On top of it, it comes down to how can he win these kills out? Zekken, as the Wrangler the Beast that is his rifle, lit up like beacons, but it matters.
You can see a pinch on B with Zekken and Tins going through hookah, while Saucy and Zelsis go long. In preparation for the simultaneous sight take here, Tins throws a mosh lineup, followed by Thrash to clear hookah. Zekken tails behind Thrash for an easy pick in case there's anyone close. Now, on the other hand, Saucy uses his Seekers, while Zelsis throws a lineup towards Elbow. Yes, they didn't get to pick anyone off from long and hookah, but look at the amount of space they were able to safely take with their utility usage alone. This resulted in an easy sight take that allowed John QT to safely place his Viper's Pit. And at that point, it's practically impossible for Gen G to retake the site, giving Sentinels a near-perfect and clean round. Turning over to the defending side, this also applies when holding and peeking angles. Dry peeking often yields higher risk most of the time, given that you don't have any guaranteed info. You wouldn't know if you're peeking into one enemy or perhaps the whole dang battalion. If you have a gut feeling that someone's in a particular area, it really doesn't hurt to just peek with a flash, a recon dart, or other supportive utilities to better your chances. Next up, if you're stuck in low elo, then you've probably been of this chamber.
Like, the most I miss about low elo is that where everyone thought they were so good, so they would always peek. Just one by one, they would just always peek. It was beautiful. Did I just jinx the enemy team?
Willius mentioned in the clip that everyone in low elo thinks that they're so good to the point where they're just peeking one by one, and as someone who's gone through the lower ranks and have been hard stuck at some point, I've also been guilty as charged once upon a time. Now, the reason why this happens is because you often take fights that you really aren't actually prepared for. In the clip, Chamber opens the door on A site. Now, he opens this with the intention of dueling whoever's holding tree. However, the opposing Reyna is holding an awkward angle, completely exposed and reacting like an NPC. The next contender, Cypher, tries to trade, but instantly crouches as soon as he spots the chamber. And for the last pick, it just so happened that the Astra wide swung to kill the Reyna, but got traded by Chamber's on-point crosshair placement. And ultimately, it was all a result of forcing fights they really weren't prepared for. Now, on that note, how do you know when you really are prepared to fight? Well, for starters, you have the intention of picking off whoever you're anticipating. Your goal is to either hold an angle or expect someone to peek you, or peek an angle where someone might be expecting you to peek. The next indicator that you're ready is that you have a plan in mind for the next few steps. Some questions you really might ask yourself could include, do you wide swing or jiggle peek the angle? Do you hide back and cover if you whiff? Do you re-peek the angle after hiding? Will you run back or press forward after picking the enemy off? It's all about creating that mental map that allows you to create a fluid, step-by-step process that eventually comes naturally through practice and practice and practice and practice and practice. And of course, the last indicator that you're really ready to take that fight is when your crosshair is at head level and you are pre-aiming the angle. Beyond that, it's really all going to boil down to who's got better aim and micro adjustments. Tip number 6, team comp doesn't matter as much in low elo, and yes, I am saying this louder for the people in the back. Enough about mirroring team comps you see in VCT or from your favorite Radiant players. In early ranks, you really need to focus on how well you master a specific agent in various situations. You fancy playing Raze? Keep learning those mechanics. Do you connect well with how Deadlock's utility works? Keep learning her setups and strategies. You aren't playing for the VCT Championship games, and you have no reason to force yourself into following the meta. Even the best Radiant players out there make it through the ranks by using just Phoenix, Sova, Sage, or any other agent. Just take a look at Grim. I mean, how long has he been dominating his competitive matches just by using Sage alone? It's not because these Radiants follow the meta. It's because they continue to improve their mechanics through the agent they're most comfortable with. And trust me, at Bronze to Diamond, it's way too early for you to be on a flex roll. Just because a specific team composition is the meta for a certain map, it doesn't mean you have to limit yourself to that arrangement. It's really going to be better to play your A game on an unusual pick rather than forcing an agent you have little to no understanding of. And for our final tip to get you out of low elo, add a few lineups to your arsenal. Now, before you say it's too much work or it's too complicated, there are literally dozens of content creators who dedicate their videos on how to do a bunch of lineups. In this clip, we see Perry 2in clutch an easy 1v4, winning the game in style.
Open up the sky! Molly!
Probably half it.
Down you go.
One enemy remaining.
That's 3.
So apart from having his ult ready, he does a follow-up molly to seal the deal. If you want an easy-to-learn Brimstone lineup that can be done from anywhere, try doing this simple trick. Look towards the sky before smoking the smoke, make sure that the spike is at the center of your smoke, aim your crosshair where the smoke started to form in the sky, and throw your molly. This lineup is absolutely guaranteed to land on the spike from anywhere as long as there are no obstructions. Here's a different spot for the universal lineup, proving how versatile this is regardless of where you are on the map. Don't get too intimidated with lineups. Learning them doesn't always have to be complicated. You can simply just apply my 4-step method here in learning lineups. First, choose an agent you wish to learn a lineup with, preferably one you can use on different maps. Second, search for lineups on YouTube or TikTok. Third, practice the lineup on a custom game to remember the positioning and the reference point. Fourth, hop on an unrated game and try to use the lineup for a few rounds with intervals in between. After that, the info is going to be etched into your memory, giving you a readily available trump card. You will now be ready to use this lineup on competitive games. Then, you can freely broaden your horizon by learning more lineups in other maps. Sure, this doesn't guarantee you're always going to win matches, but having a lineup ready really often yields a free round or two. Nothing compares to the feeling of winning rounds just by using your utilities effectively.
All right, though, guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little bit more about SkillCapped. So we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and we think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer because we've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium Valorant guides on the internet. We add new courses every month with over 1,000 guides curated into over 50 courses. No one can compare. We also have a direct line of communication with subscribers in our Discord so that you can get connected immediately to some of the best players in the game who will respond to every question you ask. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you're serious about improving your game. So that's going to be all for this one today, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.